Good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga po sa lahat. Welcome to the online orientation of senior high school teacher applicants right here in the Schools Division of Zamboanga del Sur. Binabati ho natin ng isang mapagpalang umaga ang ating tagapanimahalang pansangay, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto Cesar V. Kasama ko ng ating dalawang kawaksing tagapanimahalang pansangay, Dr. Raymond Salvador and Dr. Jerry Bukingkito. Isang napakagandang umaga din sa hepe ng Curriculum Implementation Division, Dr. Juliet Magallanes, at sa hepe po ng School Governance and Operations Division, Dr. Ernesto F. Tardo. Sa lahat po ng kalahok natin at kasama sa virtual na pagtitipong ito, magandang umaga po. Alam natin na isang napakahalagang activity ang isinasagawa natin ngayon upang mabigyan natin ng gabay ang lahat ng mga teacher applicants for the senior high school sa pagsasagawa ho ng demonstration teaching at saka itong event interview. Kaya naman po inanyayahan natin ang lahat na sumubaybay at makinig ng mabuti upang makakuha kayo ng kompletong detalye sa lahat ng ating pag-uusapan sa araw na ito. Sa ating pagsisimula, inaanyayahan natin ang lahat na manatili sa inyong kinalalagyan upang sabay-sabay nating awitin ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas, ang lupang hinirang at susundan ng pambungad na panalangin lahat sa audiovisual presentation.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Ayang mag-ibig, ay nagsasinangalan, alam ng puso, sa tinig mo'y bumay. Lupang pinirang, kaya ng mag-ibig, kamanluluping, di ka pasisigil, sa nagtatagtulong sa figuran, sa langit ng pagkaw, ay hinatang tuyaraw, isang pagkayo minamahal, ang isang watawag ulit ang mumpay na nagtitingin, ang pituin at araw niya, kailan pa may matitingin, tuman ang ang kapwal ating pagsinta, buhay natin sa Pilipo. Ang ibigayan ng ay mga ating, at mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Our Almighty God, loving Heavenly Father, at this moment we pause from our worldly worries and seek your guidance and protection. In these times of uncertainty and great challenges, we still praise you and adore you for blessings you have showered to us, the blessings of life, health, and work. We are also thankful for the opportunity to ask forgiveness of our sins. We have many sins, dear Lord. Nothing is hidden from you. Yet we ask that you forgive us and that our supplications still reach your throne of mercy and grace. At this moment, Lord, we pray that you accept our expressions of thanksgiving. We have so many things to be thankful for, and we are most thankful for the opportunity of serving our country through the Department of Education, Schools Division of Zamboanga and Sur. We are thankful for your protection and for sending your angels to envelop us and always keep us away from harm and danger and from the evil doings of men. We are thankful for the wise leadership of our top management, our chiefs, and the cooperation of officials and personnel in the Schools Division Office. We are thankful for the leadership of supervisors and school heads, and the commitment and support of all our teachers. With our expressions of gratitude, we ask now that you continue to guide us in our ways. Guide us as we perform our assigned tasks. Guide us as we serve the country. Guide us as we provide education to the children in this part of Mindanao. We also ask that you continue to bless our leaders with wisdom and continue to bless us with a spirit of patience and cooperation. We ask that you always bless our children and their parents and our partners in this work. Remind us always, dear Lord, that we are serving this country by providing education to our children and youth, and that we are doing this so that no one is left behind in illiteracy and ignorance, and that we are able to help parents and guardians mold a new generation of community leaders and even nation builders. We also ask that you continue to bless us with what we need, the need of security, safety, and shelter. We know, Lord, that you alone can offer these things to your children, and you alone can offer these completely to us. For our teachers in the field, protect them always, Lord. Give them wisdom and strength as they continue the sacred mission of guiding children, thus making them good citizens of this province and of this country. At this moment, again, we ask that you take away the disease that is plaguing the world now, including Zamboanga del Sur. May it be, Lord, that with your intervention, those who are inflicted with COVID-19 will be healed soon, and all of us will be free from the worries this disease brings. At this moment, dear Lord, we yield to your power, your loving kindness, and your will. All these things we ask in your name we pray. Amen.
Once again, magandang umaga po sa lahat. My name is Brian Delempres from the Human Resource Development section. At this point, we would like to give you our Education Program Supervisor in the Schools Governance and Operations Division, Dr. Antonio Olgano, for the opening remarks and the EPT updates. Sir Ton.
Hello, good morning, Brian. Am I heard?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear po.
Okay. Thank you, no? Thank you, Sir Bryce, sa pagpapakilala mo sa akin. Akala mo ikaw lang. Thank you. Thank you for that stiff introduction. So, quality morning to all of us, to our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto, CESO 5, our two Assistant Schools Division Superintendents, Dr. Mon Salvador and Dr. Jerry C. Bukingkito, to the Chief of the CID, Dr. Juliet A. Magallanes, and also to our SGOD Chief, Dr. Ernesto F. Tardo, to our Senior High School Coordinator, the Education Program Supervisor, Dr. Glenn V. Saison, to all the speakers for this orientation, and of course to all the teacher applicants who are joining with us in this virtual orientation. Once again, quality morning. Welcome to this online orientation of senior high school teacher applicants. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend this activity. You are in for a very important reason and for a very important purpose. That is for you to be guided on the important considerations that you need to take along the preparations that you are doing relevant to your desire to be considered for a slot in the senior high school post. At the offset, my friends, I would like to acknowledge the dedication and hard work of all the personnel who are contributory to the materialization of these doings. Without these people, without you guys, this event would not be possible. I would like also to thank each person in the virtual platform. Of course, especially to our teacher applicants. I know that many of you have taken time off from work and whose times are also occupied, but you opted to set aside those other concerns in order to be here. Your decision to invest your time and energy into attending is highly appreciated. I know you are here for the main event, so I will keep this brief. I'd like to share just a few key tips to make the most of your experience. This activity aims to lay down all the things that you need to know related to the processes that all of you must adhere. If ever along the way there are significant points that may not be clear in your part, reserve this and feel free to ask through writing it down in the chat box. So we have assigned documenters who are ready and available to jot down your concerns for it to be brought to the right persons to address such. We reserve time to address all your concerns related to the hiring process. It would be a pleasure in our part to hear your voices so that everything will be in place the moment you will step into the processes. Thank you again for making time in your busy schedule to attend this online orientation. I am certain you will be glad and you did. Once again, with so much gladness, I welcome you all in this very important event. Now, as what Mr. Telempros have made mention before my time, I have to proceed immediately right after this opening remarks to give you an updates on the computer-based English proficiency test that was conducted last week. Now, so allow me to share my presentation relevant to the contents of or the details of the recently conducted EPT. Am I projecting now, Sir Brian?
Yes, sir, Ton. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, being the division testing coordinator, I am taking charge of the processes on the conduct of the computer-based English proficiency test for the year 2022. Based on the Division Memorandum number 156 series of 2022, and that was released last May 13, 2022, this particular memorandum informs all teacher applicants, now those who have not yet taken the APT, about the conduct of this particular proficiency test scheduled on May 17 to 20, 2022 as per indicated in the contents of this particular memorandum. So we have 5 testing centers. So I know most of the teacher applicants attending in this virtual orientation this morning are aware that we have these 5 testing centers, namely Tambulig National High School, Lower Tiparak Extension, Mulave Technical Vocational High School, Senior High School Department, Aurora National High School, Dumalinaw National High School, and Antonio National High School in Tigbao. So for Tambulig National High School, we have 1 testing room and the number of examinees covering from day 1 to day 4, we have the total examinees of 160. For Molave Technical Vocational High School, Senior High Department, we have 4 testing rooms and the total number of examinees occupying these rooms for 4 days are 534. For Aurora National High School, we have 1 testing room in that particular school, and the total number of examinees are 160. For Dumalinaw National High School, still we have 1 testing room, and the number of examinees are also 160. And for Antonio National High School in Tigbao, we also have 1 testing room and also a number of examinees occupying in that particular testing room for 4 days are 160. All in all, we have conducted or we have accommodated the total number of test takers for 4 days last week. We've got a total of 1,174 test takers. For a while, ha? Okay. So during the conduct of the test, we experienced some issues, no? We have experienced issues, but thanks God that these issues were also answered. So for the first issue, no, before the actual test, many of the test takers, there are many test takers who have visited in our office and complained why their names were not listed in the final list of test takers during that batch. So I have to give you the reasons why their names were excluded in the list. Their names are not found in the official online list submitted by the districts through the district SMME. And also, the document submitted for ranking was yet to be appraised during that time. So those names that were not included in the list, definitely you will be, or maybe you will be included for the second batch that will be conducted next week. No? Reserved for second batch kasi nag-cut off na tayo nung time na nag-appraise pa, ongoing pa ang appraisal of the documents of these teacher applicants. So other issues we have is the names in the list were rejected by the Bureau of Education Assessment. So what are the reasons why BEI rejected your name in the list, in the user registration form? So we have these reasons. The test taker that was rejected have taken the test 2 years ago. And they also have registered themselves to the other school divisions. That is why duplication of names na in the system sa BEI. That is why when I submitted your name for acceptance, the action of BEI is rejected. No, your name is rejected due to duplication of that particular name. And the reason for your name being rejected was also you don't submit email address and you don't have contact numbers. So we cannot reach you out because we don't have any means to contact anyone, especially to those applicants who have not indicated their email address and contact numbers. During the actual test, these were the following issues that we encountered. The topmost issue that was encountered during the time was power interruptions. No, but when that happened, I coordinated immediately to the personnel of Zamboanga 1 to restore immediately the power supply, because sometimes, even though we already have requested the Zamboanga to avoid power interruptions, but there were really incidents that is also beyond their control. So, but thanks God, even though we experienced power interruptions, but still the supply of electricity was then restored, making their participants to resume in taking the test. So other issues during the actual test was they cannot access again to the system, so especially when there were power interruptions. So they can hardly go back again to the system to continue answering the questions on the test. What was the advice given is the examinees were already reminded to advise the test takers to jot down their personal passwords so that when there will be power interruptions, it would be easy for them to go back to the system because they have jotted down their personal passwords, so they can just easily access using their personal passwords. And so the examiner will be getting in touch with me, whatever might be the problems that will be experienced by the test takers. So immediately, I requested the Bureau of Education Assessment for resetting of passwords and the subjects, because I am the only person who is allowed to get in touch with the BEI personnel when there will be issues that will be encountered by the test takers on the actual conduct of the test. That is why the room examiners were already instructed by me that if ever there are issues that will be encountered along the way, they really have to get in touch with me for me to link your concerns to the personnel of the Bureau of Education Assessment for your problems to be given solutions. Another is invalid login. So there are really some test takers who have experienced that when the moment they log in on the system responded, responded invalid login. So the examiner immediately report to me this particular issue. Then I requested the personnel from the Bureau of Education Assessment to reset the password and the username. And thanks God, this particular issue has been addressed, and we allow those test takers who experience this particular issue to go on in taking the test. Okay, so during before and even during the conduct of the test, there are many requests, requests of the test takers. They've been chatting me through my messenger and expressing if ever their request will be granted. The first request of the test takers, they would want to transfer to another date because according to them, they have a very important concerns on the date, on the schedule of their on their respective schedules. So they would want to transfer to another date, magpa-reschedule sila. But this request was not granted because the testing schedule is already fixed by the central office. So it is not within my level to make some changes because everything that is being set, it was being set by BEI and not by the division office. So another is they would take the test in any or other testing center nearer to their residence. Gusto nila doon sila mag-take sa testing center na malapit lang sa kanila, but this request was not granted because BEI also have fixed already the testing venue where this set of test takers will be taking in. So again, I would like to reiterate that all these things, requests like this, we cannot grant in the division office because we are only implementing what has been set by the Bureau of Education Assessment. So I hope that you will also having understanding about these things because I know that there are, especially during this batch, there are test takers who have requested this particular things. They would want to transfer and they would want to take to the nearest testing centers from their residence. So for other concerns, the result of the test is expected to be released anytime this week, or in fact, the BEI personnel texted me yesterday that the test, that the result of the test that was conducted last week, is already ready for release, and that will be emailed to me. I'm expecting it today. So once the official result of rating shall be released at the office of the SGOD once it is available. And the copy of the result also shall be forwarded to the DSC Secretariat for inclusion of the rating in the individual ranking score. So what are the things that we are looking forward? So the second batch of the computer-based EPT shall be conducted next week, on May 30 to 31, 2022, and that will still be conducted in the same testing centers. So division memorandum pertaining to the details about this shall be released very soon, and it shall be posted in our website and official FB page. So the same set of examiners, the same set of nurses and members of the monitoring team shall oversee the conduct of the test. So that would be all for the updates that I can give in terms of the conduct of the computer-based English proficiency test. I am happy to serve you, and we look forward that we are expecting also that all the teacher applicants will already be all the teachers applicants, wala na tayong matirang teacher applicants na hindi pa nakatake ng EPT kasi it is only this year that we will be conducting the computer-based English proficiency test in 2 batches. Again, this is your education program supervisor in the SGOD, at the same time, your division testing coordinator. Thank you for listening. So I am hoping that you have grasped the information that I have shared to you this morning. Thank you and mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you so much, Dr. Antonio Oganub, our supervisor in SGOD, for presenting to us the EPT updates. And naniniwala tayo na nasagot na lahat ng mga katanungan ng ating mga teacher applicants, especially if they are waiting for the EPT updates. Ayun po. Tulad po ng nabanggit kanina ni Dr. Ganub, if you have any more queries about EPT or any relevant questions, kindly type it in our chat box, and our program management team will consolidate all your questions at mamaya po sa ating open forum and question and answer portion, sasagutin ho lahat yan ng ating mga session providers. Maraming salamat po. Sa punto pong ito ay pakikinggan natin ang isang napakahalagang mensahe na mula sa kawaksing tagapanimahalang pansangay, Dr. Raymond M. Salvador. Sir? Hindi pa po pala nakapasok si Sir Raymond sa ating virtual room. Okay, so mamaya po tatawagin natin siya ulit upang makapagbigay ng mensahe para sa lahat ho ng ating mga teacher applicants. At this point, we would like to give you our first session na pag-uusapan natin ang patungkol sa behavioral event interview na i-discuss sa atin ng ating Public Schools District Supervisor, Ma'am Marites G. Abad.
To our chiefs, the SGOD chief, Dr. Ernesto F. Tardo, and Chief good day to all of us, and my grand salute to our Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Marani Jacinto, our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Raymond Salvador, to our chiefs, the SGOD chief, Dr. Ernesto F. Tardo, and Chief in the CID, Dr. Juliet Magallanes, to all the applicants out there, to all the PSDSs and the raters and the interviewers, good day to all of us. This is Marites Abad, and we're going to discuss today behavioral event interview, or commonly known as BEI. So, the first question that we're going to tackle is, what is behavioral event interview, or BEI, so that we are going to have common understanding on what is this BEI all about. First definition is that BEI is a technique. So technique of asking question, and not just any question, but a question that describes a situation or an experience that our applicants had in their previous jobs. You might say, I do not have any experience yet in teaching. How can I answer those questions? Do not worry, because these experiences do not focus only on teaching experience, but any other jobs that you had or you are having as of the moment. So this is quite new to you, because we might be so aware of those interviews before, which asked futuristic questions. But this time, BEI does not ask futuristic questions, but it asks questions on your experience. So it is said that experience is the best teacher. That is why we are asking on experiences of your previous job. Another definition of behavioral event interview is that it is in this kind of interview that the interviewer will be able to gather information from experiential responses because past performance predict future performances. So as it is said, when we experience something, we learn from our experiences, and then when we are confronted with the same experience the next time, we will be able to respond accordingly because we already had experienced such. So why is it useful? Why do we shift from the old interview questions to this behavioral event interview? And these are some of the reasons why. Foremost, it is important to assess whether the candidate demonstrates traits that fit the workplace. It is observed that there are some of our colleagues who were found out to be misfit of the job, maybe because it is difficult to assess skills or traits when we ask futuristic questions. So using this BEI, we will be able to anticipate or to assess whether the applicant possesses the characteristics or traits that fit him or her to the job as a teacher. Second reason is that BEI questions elicit real life experiential responses. And these real life experiences and responses could provide a way to evaluate the skills, knowledge, and behaviors versus philosophical views. What skills are we going to evaluate? Communication skills, ICT skills, teaching skills, classroom management skills. And it is so different when these skills are being shown in real life experiences than our philosophical views. The third reason for using BEI is that the candidate's responses are a true indication of how the candidate will behave and perform in future work-related situations. Why I highlighted true? Because it's so hard to deny and to have make-believe experiences. So when we say true indication, based on the responses of the applicant or the candidate for the vacant position, we will be able to see the reality. We will be able to see how an applicant would react given a particular situation. So next, what are other features of this BEI that would help us use this? First is this BEI or behavioral event interviewing is helpful for anyone conducting an interview. So when we say anyone, it is not just helpful in DepEd, but in all other agencies. Try to browse in Google and ask what agencies are using BEI, and you would find out that almost any agency or organization are now using the behavioral event interview when they are trying to search for a particular applicant that is fitted for a vacant position. Another feature of BEI is that it is a technique that works well in a multiple interviewer scenario. That is why in our incoming interview that will be conducted later after this orientation, we will be having a panel of 3 members. So there will be 3 interviewers who would conduct this BEI to all the applicants out there. Then various questions can be assigned to members of the interview team. So because there are 3 and there are areas of focus that the interviewers are going to have, then these questions will be assigned to each of the members of the interview team. Then how is it done? We know already what is BEI and what it is important. And the next question that we are going to answer is how it is done. Okay, so there is a BEI template that includes standard interview questions. Highlighted are the words standard interview questions. And what are these? Now, these standard interview questions are so customized that responses would address or would align to the expected competencies of the teachers that will be assigned to the different field. So when I say customized, the questions are aligned with the area of focus, aligned to assess the skills that we are looking forward to have in a particular applicant. So customization should be done prior to the interview. This is for all the interviewers out there. When we interview rather, we should see to it that a day or two before the interview, our questions are already ready so that we also be able to rehearse how we are going to ask questions. So prior would mean a day or two before the interview. So we should craft our questions. Then we also are going to have probe questions. So these follow-up probes are used to further explore the candidate's response. There might be broad responses. So in order for us to dig deeper, to assess the skills of the applicant or the interviewee, we can ask probing questions based on the candidate's response to a particular question. Then, in order to avoid redundancy and when time is limited, it is beneficial to assign areas of focus. So as I said earlier, based on DepEd Order number 7, series of 2015, there are 3 areas of focus that we are going to assess as interviewers, assess on the skills. And there should be specific questions to each of the area of focus, which one of the member should ask. Then how is BEI being implemented? So here are the basic steps. So there are only 4 basic parts when we conduct the BEI, or the behavioral event interview. First of which is the warm-up, followed by the interview proper, and then the exit dialogue. And the last one of the most important, is the post-interview. What are we going to do with each basic part? Let's start with the warm-up. So the warm-up is just beginning with putting the candidate at ease, because we know knees are trembling and hearts are beating fast when we are being interviewed. So we are going to put ourselves in the shoes of the interviewees. So we will begin with putting them at ease, so making him welcome. So what are we going to do or say in this stage of the interview? We can start by thanking the applicant for having the interview and expressing our appreciation that the applicant is being interested to be with our division of Zamboanga del Sur in any of the districts in the 26 municipalities. And then we should take note that our eye movement, our facial expression, the tone of our voice greatly affect the way we build rapport to our applicants. And this affects how the applicant will be kept open throughout the interview. And then we will also inform them that we will be asking questions that would require them to share experiences. And we are going to let them know that they might have not expected these questions. So in order for them to organize their thought, they might be given a minute or two to organize their thoughts. And they should not expect a very polished question, because we are expecting them to share from experience. And we are also going to inform them that we are going to take down notes while they are responding to our question. Why we take down notes? Because the notes that we had taken down will be the basis for our rating. And we will also inform them that from time to time, we can interrupt for a moment so that we could ask our probing question to clear things out. So that is how we're going to tell them. And we are also going to inform them that they will be given time to ask questions at the later end of the interview. So that is the warm up. So getting to know with the applicant, and we will also introduce our colleagues. It's the work of the team leader of the panel to introduce who are the members of the team so that we can establish a better rapport and start building relationship, and we can ease the tension and the stress that are within the heart and the mind of our interviewees. So in short, we would like to make them comfortable, and we are going to facilitate the easy conduct of the BEI. So that's the warm up. Coming up next is the interview proper. This is now where we're going to ask our standardized questions. So what happens, or what are the topics that might be included during the interview proper? Based on DepEd Order number 7, here are some of the topics. It includes professional experience. So as I said, do not worry if you do not have teaching experience, because you always have professional experience. You might be a clerk before, or what if you do not have really any experience at all? So you can share personal experiences that would relate or that is relevant to the question of the interviewer. Then another topic could be instructional skills. Of course, every teacher applicant has instructional skills even during your pre-service training, during the times that you studied Bachelor of Science in either elementary or secondary education, or you have industrial education. Next, you have technology and computer skills. This is one of the 21st century skills that all teachers must possess, even candidates to become teachers. Because at this time, especially during the pandemic, when we are always required to go online, so we need to know whether you have this particular technology or computer skills. Then we also have classroom discipline. Whether virtual classroom or face-to-face classroom, this classroom discipline is very much important. Then you have planning skills, because we always do our lesson planning. Then classroom management skills, and then you have knowledge of content and materials. This is very much important. This is where you will be asked your strategies
Your
and techniques of
EPT
teaching, the
is
theories of
already
learning that you learn, the foundations of learning. These are some of the topics that fall under knowledge of content and materials. Then you have the relationship with administration, staff, and students. This is also very important. So how you deal with colleagues. And if, again and again, if you do not have any experience yet, your relationship with your parents, your neighbors, and your friends would also be a very good experience to share. And that would be the basis that you're going to assess how good you are in inter and interpersonal relationships. The last one is your personal qualities, how you deal with the interviewer and your co-interviewees during the interview. Okay, let's move on to the 3 area focus. That would be the gist of the interview based on DepEd Order number 7, series of 2015. First of these areas is the teaching ability. This would measure how an applicant demonstrate an appropriate knowledge of content and pedagogies. So your strategies of teaching, your techniques, and how you're going to handle a teaching learning situation. So there are other skills, or there are other areas that you should master. First is that you should be able to convey ideas and information clearly in this level of the interview. And then you can provide reasonable examples of effective lesson planning, instructional strategies, and or student assessment. So be ready with that. And then you are going to set concrete and ambitious goals for students' achievement, and then address the multiple and varied needs of your students. Next one that you need to demonstrate is you will be able to focus on achieving results with students. You indicate confidence that all students should be held to high standards, and you maintain high expectations for students when confronted with setbacks. Then you display to focus on the student's academic success, and you will be able to reflect on successes and failures. These are some indicators that you can demonstrate on the experience that you're going to share to your interviewer whenever you will be asked about your teaching skills. So let's have some sample questions. So I do not say that this question will be asked to you, but this is so close to the questions that might be asked to you. So everyone has some tasks or projects they feel more comfortable with than others. So think over the last 2 years or last 1 year or so and tell me about a task or project you work on that you really enjoyed, one where you really came alive. So if you notice, the question does not ask a teaching experience. It is not prescribing whatever experience you have. It is just asking you to share a particular project. It can be a school project, a community project, a barangay project, or a family project that you really feel comfortable. So when you are asked in this kind of word STAR, STAR. So why is this STAR important? Because the interviewer will be taking down notes on the situation where you are in, that is the S, and then the task that you have based on the situation that you experience, and then what are the things, the activities that you did that you, in order to address a particular situation, and then what is or are the results. If you notice, you have STAR. So if you will not be able to complete the STAR, that's the time that the interviewee is going to ask probing question so that they will be able to get the complete data on the STAR that we are looking. So remember, S for situation, cite the situation, and what is the task expected of you, and what are the actions that you did undertake, and the results, whether positive or negative. But in this case, you are asked to share that positive experience because it is a project that you really feel comfortable and you came alive. That is how simple it is. So another sample question in this area focus is comes this way. Now tell me about a task or a project that you did not enjoy. So it's the other way around. One that you hope you won't have. So try to think of those times that you failed in a project, maybe a class project or a barangay project or a family project. So what's the situation? And what was the task expected of you? And what are the actions that you undertook? And what are the negative results that you wish you won't repeat? So by your reactions, we will be able to foresee how you would become as a teacher when you will be hired. Hope that's good enough. Then the second area focus that the questions would come from is on classroom management. So what are expected of you? So you'll be able to demonstrate the ability to deal effectively with negative student behavior. When you're going to go to the field, do not expect that the classroom is in perfect harmony. There will really be difficult classroom students' behavior rather. So how you deal with them. So you are expected to demonstrate the following skills that you will be able to assume accountability for classroom environment and cultures. Remember, your classroom is made of distinct individuals with different cultures that had grown from different environments. Then letter B, you must be able at least to convey a reasonable understanding of potential challenges involved in teaching in a high-needs school. Okay. Or you demonstrate ability to deal effectively with negative student behavior. What are examples of these negative student behaviors? When students do not listen, they keep doing things not expected of them, or when they keep going out when the activities are going on, or a very attention seeker learner. and we should expect those. So if we had not experienced this, we can draw your experience to some other situations wherein you are faced with a client or a neighbor or a friend who is very hard to deal with. Then abilities to persist in offering viable or realistic strategies to deal with classroom management challenges. Then we have remains productive and focused when faced with challenges. So poised pa rin kahit may problema na. Conveys willingness to try multiple strategies or something new when things change or when confronted with challenges. At this time of the pandemic, changes are permanent. Then displays willingness to adopt classroom management style to meet the particular needs or culture of the school. That is another. So here are sample questions. Tell me about a time at work where you really stepped up to a challenge, offered an innovative solution, or took a high risk. Again, if you notice, this question is not asking about a teaching experience. It's about time at work. It could be a school work, a family work, or a community work wherein you stepped up to a challenge and offered innovative solution and you took a high risk. So think, remember, you are told that you can organize your thoughts first before you're going to respond to the question. So think time and then say your star. Another sample question would be, tell me about the most difficult or frustrating learner you've ever encountered. So if you had not been into teaching, you had not encountered a learner. But think of your friend, think of your neighbor, or even a sister of yours or a brother of yours, whom you feel that once upon a time, he displays or she displays an attitude that is so difficult, that is so hard to deal with. So you can draw your experience from that. And how did you react to that particular situation? So remember the star, cite the situation, express the past, and what are the things that you did that is for the actions, and what were the results. The third area of focus that the interviewer is going to ask you is school fit, meaning how you demonstrate skills and needs for development that can be a good fit with the school. So what are the skills that are expected of you to demonstrate? So you know how to interact with the interviewer in an appropriate or professional manner. Remember, first impression is lasting. So you should interact with the interviewer and your co-interviewers during the interview. And physical appearance is very important. So you must have to dress well, look well. So for ladies, do not forget to wear your lipstick so that you will not look pale when the interviewers rather start to ask you questions. Another is you should also demonstrate how to respect the opinions of others. This is very self-explanatory. The third one is you must know how to recognize that families impact students' performance. They are our stakeholders. Then you can cite strategies that create positive relationships with administrators, faculty, and students. Or you know how to express personal and professional expectations and or preferences that are in line with the school culture. So we always tell this because one school differ from the other in terms of culture. Not only those schools offering indigenous people's education or what we call IPED that has a different culture, but every school really has a different culture than the others because the school is composed of children bringing with them different cultures. Then demonstrate interest and skills that match the school's culture and needs. Of course, that's why it's called school fit. How fitting are you to be assigned in a particular school, to be a teacher in that particular school? So interact appropriately with supervisors, colleagues, parents and students. So interpersonal relationship. So sample questions might be, okay, tell me about the most difficult or frustrating colleague you've ever dealt with. Again and again, the term is colleague. So it could not be, it can be some other person whom you defined as a colleague. So we are done with the warm up. We are done with the interview proper. What comes next? So the third part is the exit dialogue. So what are we going to do, interviewers, during the exit dialogue? And what interviewers expect to happen during the exit dialogue? So here are these things. So during the exit dialogue, the interviewers shall provide time to answer the candidates' questions. This time, it's the reverse. It's now the interviewees who would ask questions to the interviewers, but not personal questions, of course. These are questions that pertain to what will happen after the interview, what will they do that is aligned with the ranking process. So I said earlier that the interviewers will assure the interviewee during the warm up that there will be a time that they will be allowed to ask questions. Then the interviewers also would inform the interviewees what the organization has to offer. So meaning what the division of Zamboanga del Sur would offer, they will be hired. Of course, that pertains to salary and other benefits that a teacher 1 or teacher 2 will enjoy when they will be hired. And then the third thing that the interviewers are going to share during this exit dialogue are the next steps. So what will happen next? So after the interview, it rest assured that when all the processes in the ranking season will be done, the applicants will be made aware of their points. I believe the same system will be observed, that you will be given your individual ratings if you are going to request them. So there are processes to be observed. Maybe that will be disseminated through a memorandum. So done with the 3. So warm up, interview proper, and exit dialogue. What's next? So this will be the last, the post-interview. So this is now the time that the interviewees are dismissed from the venue where the interview is conducted. This is all for the interviewers. So interviewers, you are going to do reflections that will provide you the opportunity to capture your findings and evaluate and make conclusions on each candidate. This is now the time that you're going to go back to your notes that you had taken down while the interviewee answered all your questions. So this is now the BEI roadmap that we are going to follow during the BEI or the behavioral event interview. First, we did was the listing of critical performance areas for the job. So we know that there are 3 critical areas. And then we create open-ended questions on the candidate's experiences. That is how we customize. So prior to the interview, we had prepared those questions. Then we gather data on the situation, on the experiences that are being shared by the interviewees. After we gather the information, we evaluate their answers. And then we compare their answers with other candidates' answers. Why? This is very important so that we could assess the skills of the applicants, the way they interact with us, and the way they share the experiences with us. And then we're going to finalize our rating. So if we will just follow this roadmap, then interviewers could never get lost. So how are the applicants being rated could be the next question, because in the roadmap, the last step is we're going to finalize our rating. So this is now very important task of the interviewers. How do we fairly rate our applicants? So we're going to give 5 points for very exemplary, for an exemplary answer. So when do we say that the answer, the responses of the interviewee could be considered exemplary. Here are some indicators. So when the responses contain many of the target behaviors, those behaviors that are being enumerated every area focus, then the responses indicate well-developed skills and aptitude for that certain competency, which would most likely lead to job success. And the responses are of superior quality for these jobs. So if these 5 indicators are being demonstrated by an applicant per area focus, then we can give 5 points. We can give 3 points if the responses are fully acceptable. Notice there is no score of 4. So from 5, which is exemplary, down to 3, which is fully acceptable. When can we say that the responses are fully acceptable? Here are the indicators. So fully acceptable if the responses covered only some of the target behaviors, but not quite at the level that would be ideal for the competency. So still, the quality of the person's answers leads you to believe that he or she would be successful with some additional exposure or training. So if the interviewee only missed 2 or 3 of the target behaviors on a particular area of focus, then by training, we can be assured that the teacher could be a best buy for the department, then we can give 0.43. What if many of the target behaviors are missed by the interviewee? So then we can give 1 for not fully acceptable. So what are the indicators? This is where the applicant's responses contain very few of the target behaviors. Either the behavior she discussed were not or at even close to the level indicated in the target behaviors, or the person did not have enough information that you do not have any confidence that if he or she will really be hired, there is success in him or her. So we can give a rating of 1. So remember, interviewers, the points that we can only give are 5 for exemplary, 3 for fully acceptable answers, and 1 for not fully acceptable. So never give 4 or 2 because only 5, 3, 1 are the points that we need to give. So I think that's all. And if you have questions, you can just send your questions to the in charge, and then we will be very happy to address your questions the best way we can. And I would like to close this session by saying job interviews are like first dates. All of us had undergone first dates. What are first dates? What we experience? Good impressions count. So always try to target good impressions from the interviewers. And awkwardness can occur. So be ready to feel this awkwardness and try to conquer them. And outcomes are unpredictable. So just believe that God had given you talents, and this is not the time that you're going to open your window to showcase the talents that God had given you. God bless all the interviewers, and most of all, God bless all the interviewees, and may you have a very fruitful and productive experience when you do your behavioral event interview. Good day to all of us.
Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Marites G. Abad, for discussing to us the details about the BEI or the Behavioral Event Interview. Nung nakita ko nga yung BEI doon sa screen, akala ko yung sa COMELEC na BEI. But we are very glad na nabigyan natin ng tamang kaalaman ang ating mga kalahok sa senior high school teacher applicants upang mas alam nila kung paano nila haharapin ang BEI or behavioral event interview, kasi napag-usapan na natin ang mga detalye at napag-alaman na din natin kung paano mabibigyan ng ratings ang ating mga applicants. Kaya maghanda na po kayo, and kailangan na din yung magsaliksik, mag-research ng mga bagay upang makatutulong sa inyo na masagot ng tama ang mga katanungang ibibigay sa inyo ng ating mga interviewers. Muli po, maraming salamat, Ma'am Marites G. Abad, ang ating Public Schools District Supervisor po. Sa punto po ito ay pakikinggan natin ang napakahalagang mensaheng ibibigay sa atin mula sa ating isa sa mga kawaksing tagapanimahalang bansangay ng Zamboanga del Sur. Walang iba kundi po si Dr. Raymond M. Salvador. Sir, please take your time.
Maraming salamat, Sir Brian. My thanks to the team, headed of course by the team leader of the Division Selection Subcommittee for Senior High School, Dr. Glyn Saison. And my greetings of good morning to our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto, to my counterpart, Dr. Jerry C. Bukingkito, to our two chiefs, Dr. Ernesto Tardo of the SGOD and Dr. Juliet Magallanes of the CID, and to the members of the Division Selection Subcommittee of the Senior High School, to our ITO boys, and to all our teacher applicants for Senior High School. Maayong buntag sa atong tanan. We are very grateful and thankful for the opportunity that our good Lord has given to us to have this online orientation. As we all know, this is one of those nice avenues, like I want to say, because you are now being equipped and being prepared for the journey ahead for you to be part of the biggest organization in the government, which is the Department of Education. And as we all know, we are about to have a change in our administration. And as we are about to welcome our new DepEd secretary, nonetheless our vice president of the country. And I think it is also very fitting that we will make sure that we will provide our new administration who will be at the helm of the department, that we will be producing the brightest, the most qualified, and the most competent senior high school applicants for our department. So we are very much fortunate that we were given the chance to listen to our very well-versed and knowledgeable speakers. We have heard before me, PSDS Marites Abad, who is really good when it comes to managing and looking into our behavioral events interview. Together with her is our equally brilliant also, SEPs for HRD, Sir Ebenezer Malilay. We have also listened to our education program supervisor, Dr. Antonio Ganup. I like to say he's a definition of a person who is a small but knowledgeable person, because when you ask something from him, he could really do it and he could really perform it. And I think we were all clarified now of the concerns and issues that we have when it comes to the English proficiency test. So he had to muscle up his energy, no, because I was even surprised that we have more than 1,000 applicants who took the EPT, and wow, we are very happy to see that you are all eager to join the department. And saying that, I hope at the end of this online orientation, be it online or in as much as we want to have it face to face, we see it that it's still okay if we go for online, because we have a much wider coverage. No, we will not be only be limited to the venue that we're having if it's face to face, but if it's online, we could even include those who are still aspiring and planning to join the DepEd, and they would now have the knowledge na ganito pala, this is how DepEd does its selection process. So I hope you would also really pay attention, no, because a few months when we released our results for our RQA, many would approach the office, and I am grateful and thankful, no, that you are visiting our office to inquire, no, and you're not doing it through Facebook or 888 or to where's Tulfo, who is now a senator. but you are visiting our office to seek for clarification and further understanding of the process, which is a very good deed that you are practicing. And I hope that you would again continue to listen, continue to be active participants in this online orientation. So you will know the details, know the minute details of how we are doing the selection process, especially in crediting your points, in your experience, in your demo, in your interview, in your skills, how it's being done. So later on, when the results would come out, you will also be satisfied because we in the department, we in the division of Zamboanga del Sur have done our part, and you will also say, I have also done my share to earn this rating. So we will not question with each other, compare with each other, and what's worse, we have doubts in the process. So what we're doing now, it's one of those best output that I could say of the selection subcommittee of the senior high school that have done to do this online orientation. So let us always remember, if this is your second, your third, no, time to join this, never give up, continue, because who knows, last year, this year could be different. Maybe last year was a different scenario for you. So you learn from what happened last year, and this year would be different. You would approach it differently because now you have the experience. If this is your first time to join the ranking, please do listen and again participate. If you have doubts, queries, questions, you ask. So you will be enlightened. For those who are shifting from junior to senior high school, I hope you have made. I hope you're doing the right choice from going from junior to senior high school, because once you're in the senior high school and you want to go back to senior high school, then that would be another different story. I hope you would, those who are already in the service, no, in the junior high school and shifting to senior high school, would continue to give their best, their services, when, if they will be given a chance to join the senior high school. So at the end, it's going to be a win-win for both of us here, we in the division office, because we're able to do our part to orient you, and for the teacher applicants, we were able you were able to grasp what is the process all about, how it's going to be done, and no, you know, don't give up. I want to say the word never give up, because there are teacher applicants who would say, sir, this is my this is my sixth time, this is my fifth time to join the RQA. Always look at every chance, I mean, not chance, but look at every time that you undergo the demo, the interview, as a way for you to reflect, what could have I done better than what I have done before? Could have I become more relaxed, more composed when it comes into the interview? Kasi sabi ni Ma'am Tess kanina, the interviewers will look at how composed you are. So you will be able to provide answers to their questions. So you have a clear presence of mind during the situation, during the actual interview. In your demo, you will not have a blackout during your actual teaching. So every time that you take this process, take it as a challenge to improve yourselves, to look into how could I have become if I was given a chance to do it again. Kasi I know some of you, this is not your first time. It might be your second or more than the second time. No? Some would already surrender, and they would always say na parang hindi yata ito para sa akin. Buti na lang, sir. Hello. Buti na lang, sir. Na-clear na kami kasi ganito pala ang proseso. Kasi dati, hindi namin alam ganito pala. So, you see, every day is a new day for us to explore and learn. So, we must continue. Do not stop, but instead, try to look at how you can improve and become the better version. Like I would always say to anyone I meet, no? They would ask, always become a better version of yourself. So, kahit narinig mo na ito, baka may na-miss ka dati. So, sit down and listen again. Baka ito pala yung hinihingi ko. Like there were applicants who were asking, sir, bakit hindi na-count yung experience ko? Bakit hindi na-count yung teaching experience ko? It's because did you know that in experience it is counted by months, not as a year, but by months? Ay, ganun pala, sir. Hindi namin yung alam. So, but because you were given the chance to speak and ask and you listen to our explanation. So now you are clarified. So again, this is the avenue for you to listen again, to capture what is the essential of the whole process. So don't give up, don't surrender. That is my word of advice to our teacher applicant in the senior high school. And lastly, my thanks to the group, especially to our documents evaluators for doing their tasks, doing the overtime, to go over the papers, to look at the documents submitted by our applicants. My salute to you for doing the extra mile for our teacher applicants. Hello, hello. And lastly, may you all be safe and may you have the time, the quality time with us in this virtual orientation, as we still have a few speakers who will be sharing and be talking to us and giving us orientation. And if ever you have again any clarifications, queries that you need to ask, we are always here to listen, be it virtually or if you want to visit us, we are always ready to accept you as our guests in our offices. And we are very much happy if we could hear queries and information coming from you. So once again, thank you for joining this online orientation to for our senior high school teacher applicants. So keep it up and wish to see you all one day as a member of the Department of Education. May maayong buntag sa atong tanan and may God bless you always and keep you safe and thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Raymond M. Salvador, for the very wonderful message, so inspiring and so challenging, giving really this challenge to all our applicants with his words, no, never surrender. Nga, kasi hindi naman nakukuha natin ng mabilis yung mga bagay na gusto natin, dumadaan tayo sa proseso, and we're very grateful na naiintindihan natin kung ano ang pinagdadaan ng proseso bago ho tayo makapasok sa kagawaran ng edukasyon. Ayan po, to lighten up our atmosphere bago tayo magpatuloy sa ating pangalawang session sa araw na ito. May pa-shoutout pa pala tayo, no? Dalawa lang kasi marami sa ating nakikita mga tanong na. So later na natin i-accommodate lahat ng mga tanong during our Q&A section or part of this program. Ito, dalawa lang sila. Kasi puro tanong yung nakikita natin. Good morning everyone, Marvin Sabal from Tukuran West. Ayan Sir Marvin, magandang umaga po sa lahat ng mga teachers and teachers applicants po ng Tukuran West. Magandang umaga. Kay Ma'am Ana Lane Noble, good morning po sa lahat. Ayan po. Sa lahat ng mga kasama natin ngayon, magandang umaga and I hope you are still with us, bearing with us as we continue with the discussion. And this time, tutungo na po tayo sa pangalawang bahagi, isang siguro mas mahaba kasi mas maraming detalye ang pag-uusapan. This will be about the demonstration teaching, the competencies to be used, lesson plan, and time limit. Kaya naman po, we're encouraging everyone to pay close attention kasi ang mga detalye nito ay talagang makatutulong sa inyong paghahanda para sa inyong demonstration teaching. We will give you Dr. Green Saison, our Division Senior High School Coordinator for this session.
Greetings to everyone, especially to our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto, CESU 5, our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Raymond M. Salvador, Assistant Superintendent, Jerry Bukingkito, our Chief in the Curriculum and Implementation Division, Dr. Joliet A. Magallanes, our SGOD Chief, Dr. Ernesto F. Tardo, applicant teachers, ladies and gentlemen, supervisors, principals, and education supervisors, a pleasant morning. This morning, I would like to discuss or review the DepEd Order number 3, Series 2016, before discussing the teaching demonstration. In DepEd, we recognize the success of any education system greatly relies on the teachers. Hence, one of the primary issues the DepEd aims to address through the comprehensive implementation of the K-12 basic program, which is the need for highly competent teachers in the senior high school. DepEd recognizes the success of any education system greatly relies on its teachers. Hence, one of the primary issues the DepEd aims to address through the comprehensive implementation of the K-12 basic program is the need for highly competent teachers in the senior high school. In DO3, teacher applicants shall be evaluated according to the criteria detailed below. The Division Selection Committee, upon recommendation of the School Screening Committee, shall ensure that each applicant is evaluated based on his or her preferred senior high school subject group. The scope is these guidelines which shall be applied to the filling up of newly created and or natural vacancies for teaching positions in public senior high schools shall cover the following areas or aspects. A, it's announcement of vacancies and receiving of applications. B is the verification and validation of submitted documents. Then we have the evaluation criteria and selection process of qualified applicants. D is the appointment of qualified applicants. And the last is monitoring of schools division offices, compliance by regional offices. 2, for the scope is for applicants who are already teaching with the DepEd, either in elementary or junior high schools. DepEd Order number 66, Series 2007 on the revised guidelines on the appointment and promotion of other teaching, related teaching, and non-teaching positions shall apply except for Part 3, the computation of points of said DepEd order. And that's the reason why our junior high schools has to undergo again the demonstration as well as in the interview. Then the Part 4, evaluation criteria and computation of points of this order shall apply instead. We will have the definition of terms. Bona fide resident. I know that some of us are not a bona fide resident in this province. Some are residents from other provinces. But in this DepEd order, it states that the applicant should be a bona fide resident. At least 6 months residing in that barangay, in a municipality, or in the province, or in the city. Then we have the displaced HEI applicant, those applicants who were not already in the higher education institutions. We will define what is higher education institutions. These are institutions in our colleges, in the third level of education. Then we have the permanent status. It refers to the employment status issued to a person who meets all the minimum requirements, qualification requirements of the position to which she is being appointed, including the appropriate eligibility prescribed in accordance with the provisions of law, rules, and standards promulgated in pursuance thereof. This includes all level of positions as amended by the Civil Service Commission, Series 1999. So we have the qualification standards, of course. It's referred to the minimum and basic requirements for positions in the government. And qualified applicants refers to the person who meets the evaluation and selection criteria in accordance with DepEd policy, rules, and regulations set forth in these guidelines. Then we have the registry of qualified applicants. It refers to the official list of applicants who obtained an overall score of 70 points and above, based on the criteria and as a result of the evaluation and selection process set herein. Published work. This includes works that are literary, scholarly, scientific, and or artistic in nature, published in a book, journal, anthology, textbook, newsletter, newspaper, magazine, or any other recognized publication medium. This is a copyright work as enshrined in Republic Act 82993, otherwise known as the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. It is made available to the public by sale or other transfer of ownership or by rental, lease, or lending on an unexpected, unrestricted basis. So we have here the senior high school subject groups. It shall be the basis for preparing the senior high school registry of qualified applicants. The senior high school teacher applicants should also indicate the senior high school subject group they intend to teach in their application letter. Ideally, the senior high school teacher should be able to teach most, if not all, of the subjects in the same group. For the purposes of these guidelines, the senior high school subject groups are as follows. Group 1, it's UMS and the following subject groupings. 1A is oral communication, reading and writing, English for academic and professional purposes, and practical research. All of these subjects belongs to English major subject teachers. 1B is komunikasyon at pananaliksik sa wika at kulturang Pilipino, pagbasa at pagsusuri ng iba't ibang teksto sa pananaliksik, pagsulat sa Filipino sa piling larangan. Those who are in the major of Filipino, ito ang mga subjects that you are going to teach, and it belongs to UMS 1B. For 1C, it's first century literature from the Philippine and the world and contemporary Philippine arts from the region. So these are in group C. Then we have group 3D, and it's media and information literacy, empowerment technologies for this strand. Another group is ABM, which is accounting, business and accountancy, business and management, and entrepreneurship, research, and work immersion. The work immersion here is the business simulation. For group 3, STEM and the following subject groupings. 3A, that is math, groupings in the subject of mathematics, gen math, statistics and probability, and related specialized STEM subjects, of which the pre-calculus, basic calculus are subjects belong to Group 3A. And Group 3B are the subjects in science, earth and life science, physical science, and related specialized STEM subjects. Group 4, these are the subjects or under the following specializations in the TVL track. 4A, specialized TVL under agri-fishery strands. 4B, specialized TVL in the industrial arts strand. 4C, specialized TVL in the specialization of ICT. And 4D, specialized TVL under home economics strand. Group 5, these are the subjects, the physical education and health for the sports track. Personal development is also in this group and related specialized sports subjects. For Group 6, arts and design. We have the different requirements, documentary requirements in the application, during the application of this process. We have letter of intent. We require you are going to state the statement of purpose or the expression of your interest. Most of the applicants who write the letter of intent, sometimes you forget that you need to write in your letter of intent if you still interested to undergo the demonstration and interview. Or sometimes we failed that in your letter of intent, you did not state the subject group you intend to teach. The preferred school was stated. However, the school that you are stating in your letter of intent did not offer the course that you are applying. Then we have the certified copy of certificates of relevant specialized pieces of training. There are documentary requirements upon application of the senior high school. One is letter of intent, which shall indicate the following information: the statement of purpose or expression of interest. If you are an old applicant, if you wish to retain your scores, then you are going also to indicate it in your letter of intent. The mandatory requirements for permanent positions. One is letter of intent, which shall indicate the following information, which is the statement of purpose or expression of interest. If we are an old applicant, we are going to state in our letter of intent that we are going to retain the scores or update our documents. Then we have to state also the subject group or you intend to teach. However, you are going to align it to your bachelor's degree so that there will be an alignment of the subject group and the track and strand, as well as the qualification or educational qualification that you have. Then the preferred school is necessary. However, some of the schools that you would like to teach later is not offering the course or track. That's the reason why we need, during the hiring of our teachers, we are transferring you to other schools which you have not stated which you don't state it in your letter of intent. It's because the school is not offering the track and the strand. Then we need to enclose the certified photocopy of certificates of relevant and specialized training, if any, and another certified copy of voter's ID and or any proof of residency. Then the National Bureau of Investigation clearance. And the last is the omnibus certification of authenticity and veracity of all documents submitted, signed by the applicant. Additional requirements for the permanent positions: certified copy, photocopy of diploma on bachelor's degree, certified photocopy of transcript of records with at least 15 units of specialization and relevant strand or specialized subject, because this will be the basis of computing the general weighted average, or this is the basis of evaluating or assessing your education. Then we have the certified copy of PRC, Professional Regulation Commission, Professional ID or card. Then we have the certificate of registration or license, then certified photocopy, written approval from his or head of unit in she is currently employed by the national government or the local government unit. Then another requirements for part-time positions, written approval from his or head of unit if she is currently employed by the national government or the local government unit. Another requirements, additional requirements for TVL teacher applicants. Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, the TESDA, national certificate is required, at least one level higher than the course of the taught. To be taught in a subject, especially in SMAU, to teach SMAU NC3 or the same level if there is no NC level higher. Exceptions are given to applicants to courses no national certificate, like handicraft courses. Additional requirements for TVL teacher applicant is the certified copy of trainer's methodology certificate, if available. Because if you don't have this certificate, then you can only apply for the teaching position of teacher 1. Then additional requirements for arts and design and sports track. Certified photocopy of certification of proficiency, recognition from recognized organizations. Additional requirement for HEI and TVI and responsible relevant associations, organization, or guild is a certified photocopy of certification of status of employment service record from the HEI, higher education institution, or the technical vocational institution. Okay, these are the criteria in academic and core subjects. These are the points assigned in every criterion. 1 in education for the academic is 20. For TVL arts and sports is 15 points. For teaching industry and work experience is 15 for academic, 20 for TVL arts and sports. Then the specialized training is 10, 20, 15, and 15. For interview, all of the tracks and strand will have a 15 points. For the criterion of English communication skills, the score for academic is 10, while TVL arts and design and sports group are 5 points. For the interview, it's 15 to all the tracks and strand. For the portfolio or outstanding achievements is 10, 15 for other groups or tracks. Then the demonstration, of course, we have bigger points for academic, while in TVL arts and sports, it's 15 points. This is the criteria for academic and core subjects for the TVL sports track and arts and design. For education, and the points intended for this criterion is 20, 15, 15 for arts and design, and for sports group is 14. We have an additional points of in education if an applicant earned 15 points, you have additional of 1 point. For 18 units in master's degree, you earned 2 points. Then for complete academic requirements of the master's degree, you have 3 points and 4 points for 5 points for master's degree. For CAR in the EDD or PhD, you have an additional of 6 points. Be sure that your master's degree aligned to the track and strand that you are applying for, because it should be relevant to the educational qualification and the track and strand. For teaching industry and workplace. For teaching, we need to have the requirements that will support for this criterion, because without the documentary requirements, without the support, there will be no credits or points of this particular criterion. For teaching, if the teacher is already is rendering services under the local government or local paid teacher or provincial paid teacher, it should be supported with a document, which is the contract or the service credits, the service records rather, of the HRMO. Volunteer teachers who don't have the contract, and it's only signed by the certificate of employment, is only signed by the school principal, should have no points. For the industry, there should be a certificate of employment, and it should be signed by the branch manager or the corporate secretary. For workplace and workplace experience, there is a certain point for those who are already teaching in the higher education. There is a plus points for those who are already in a supervisory level. So there is a plus points for those who are already in the higher or act as the department head in the private schools. For specialized training, certificates is the document that we require to credit the specialized training. However, the certificates that you are going to provide us or attach should at least 2 days training. 1 day training has no points. But the specialized training that you will have will be relevant to the track and strand that you are applying, or to the degree or the course that you are taking in your baccalaureate degree. Then we have the interview. Of course, again, we have the same points from academic up to sports group. For English communication skills, if your EPT is already has been 2 years ago, it will not be credited anymore if you are updating your EPT. You are updating your records here in our division. So you need to take your EPT again. We are done already with our first batch, so another batch will be conducted hopefully by next week. So I hope that some of us who were not able to take in the first batch, your names will be in the second batch so that you can earn points for these English communication skills. And it's an online test given by the central office. Of course, we need your email address as well as your contact number so that we can submit your names in the central office. For portfolio or outstanding achievements, there are certain lists of achievements that will credit in this criterion. For academic, it's 10. PVL groups, 15. For arts and design, 15. And sports group is 15. Only the recognized organization will be credited in this particular criterion. For demonstration teaching, it's 20, 15, 15, and 15. So there are things that we need to discuss for the demonstration teaching. Of course, you need to comply what is being required in the demonstration teaching. There are 6 components, 6 skills that we are going to observe in the demonstration teaching of our applicant teachers. So these are the observable indicators and the corresponding points. The highest point is 4, then 3, 2, and 1. So these are the indicators for lesson planning and preparation. Of course, we need to select instructional objectives aligned to the track and strand that we are applying. We agreed in our committee that the objectives that you are going to demonstrate will be in quarter 4 of the second semester. All the subjects in the second semester in both grade 11 and 12. These are the observable indicators and corresponding points during our demonstration. First is the lesson planning and preparation, selecting instructional objectives. May I remind our teacher applicants that you just select an objectives from the list that we are presenting to you this morning. Then do not go out from the list or from the subjects that you are going to teach. We have to teach in our demonstration the subjects in the second semester. You can choose either in grade 11 or 12, and I hope that you will come up with a successful teaching by selecting an instructional objectives which you think you are comfortable of teaching that kind of objective. I know that some of our applicants, especially those who are not education graduate, but you have the work experience in the industry, you find difficulty in the lesson planning, in making our lesson plans. But I am advising you to select the instructional objectives based on the list that we are giving. The objectives are the learning competencies that you are going to take was taken from the MEL in the 4th grading or in the 4th quarter of the second semester. So the points there is 4, 3, 2, and 1. If you have a high level learning, reflect the high level learning related to curriculum framework and standards, then you earn 4 points. If you represent only a valuable learning objectives and are only suitable for most students in the class, you earned 3 points. Then for 2 points, the objectives are of moderate value or suitability for students in the class. Then 1 point if the teacher's objectives or the learning competencies that you are presenting represent only trivial learning. Then we have the mapping of coherent instruction, still under the lesson planning and preparation. Then the next is the instructional material, resources, and technology. We remind our teacher applicants that you bring your own instructional materials, resources, and technology equipment. We have there again that all materials and resources support the instructional objectives and key concepts and most engage students in meaningful learning. There is evidence students' participation in selecting or anticipating the materials. We have 3, 2, and 1 point. I hope that most of us will have the instructional materials so that there will be an engagement of learning in during the demonstration from our students. Then we have the managing of classroom procedures. So in our classroom management, by the way, we only have 10 students in a class because we should follow the protocols. Then we have the organizing physical science. It's still under the classroom management. If possible, we will not have any more. May I remind everyone that we will not have a prayer anymore or a checking of attendance, but we should go directly to the motivation. If possible, no review anymore. Then we will go immediately to the procedures because we have limited time. In this particular demonstration, we agreed during our meeting that for academic, we only have 40 to 45 minutes. 30 is the minimum minutes for the demonstration and 45 minutes for the maximum minutes in the academic. But in the sports, in the arts and design as well and TVL, maximum of 1 hour and 30 minutes, especially under the TVL track. Your demonstration, you are allowed to have the demonstration of 1 hour and 30 minutes. Knowledge of content and pedagogy. Be sure that we can master the subject matter. We have to write the procedures and the content of this knowledge, the teacher's knowledge of content and pedagogy is extensive, showing evidence of a continuing search for improved practice. Another teaching learning process, number 5 indicators, is the learning activities. The learning activities are highly relevant to students and instructional objectives, and key concepts. They progress coherently, producing a unified whole and reflecting recent professional research. Then we have the use of language. Here, the teacher's spoken and written language is correct and expressive with well-chosen vocabulary that enriches of the lesson. I just remind our demonstrators, our teacher applicant demonstrators, that if possible, you have to express a language appropriately to the objectives and to the subject that you are teaching. We observed before that an applicant teacher demonstrates which is not appropriate, and she is speaking of her own dialect. So I hope that we are reminded as an applicant that the use of language should be appropriate, expressive, and have a well-chosen vocabulary that enriches the lesson. Then we have another indicator in language proficiency, the conveyance of information and ideas. Of course, we are going to convey information and ideas with clarity. Then in assessment of learning, the congruence with instruction of objectives, and that is very important. No? Then we have assessing students' learning. The teacher's plan for student assessment is fully aligned with instructional outcomes. I am just reminding our demonstrators, teacher demonstrators, that do not spend time anymore for checking the assessment that you are giving to the students, because it will take time. So if you are done with your assessment, it's the process of giving the assessment, then you end up immediately your demonstration. Then we have providing opportunity to strengthen students' written work, performance, or task and quarterly assessment. Of course, you just say that the things that you are going to say, but do not take time anymore of doing this task of having a reinforcement lesson. Again, we will have a little time, and we have a limited time in our demonstration, since you are too many in having this demonstration teaching, and we cannot finish it for 1 or 2 days.
Take 13, ready, go.
Standard and the learning competencies and the code. So it's easy for you to find the competency because the code was there and you can see that. So you have to write also in your lesson plan the content standard. That is for reading and writing, another competency. For UMS 1B, it's Filipino. It's only, since many of you are in English, English subjects are oral com, and for second semester is reading and writing. However, we have English subjects like practical research 1 and 2, but we choose to have only reading and writing because this is in the second semester of English grade 11 subjects, and it's a part of a review for our students in the senior high school in taking the regional achievement test. Then we have in UMS 1B, it's Filipino sa piling larang. So you just choose one learning competency. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 competencies for Filipino sa piling larang under the technical vocational PVL rather. For Filipino sa piling larang, under the technical, vocational, and livelihood. Then we have 2 learning competencies, 4 other learning competencies. So you just choose one. Then another one is HUMS 1C. This is not English. Some of these are English, but it's under HUMS 1C is the specialization of humanities. And it's creative writing, one of those. These are the specialized subjects of the humanities. So we have three competencies for the creative writing. Then we have the entry to world religion and belief system. So we also have 4. Then intro to world of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then another subject is trends, network, and critical thinking. The number of competencies that we have is 6. Then another one is, so you just select one subject and one competency. One subject and one competency for your demonstration teaching. So again, in HUMS 1C, we have creative writing and trends and introduction to religious beliefs. Then the other one is HUMS 1D. It's about empowerment technologies and media information literacies. So we have there 9 learning competency. Then the other one is arts and design, grade 11, that is 4th quarter. So these are the different competencies in creative industries. So you can choose only one. Another one is appropriation and integration of traditional or local art into other art forms. So I think under the developing Filipino identity in the arts, exhibits for arts, production in the performing arts. So there are 5 competencies. So integrating the element and principles of organizations in the arts. This is under sports, fitness testing, and basic exercise programming, and human movement. So these are the competencies in the fitness, sports, and recreation, leadership. So next are the competencies for ABM, under the ABM. So we have subject in fundamentals of accounting, business, and management. We have the principles of marketing, business finance, business ethics, and social responsibility. Then another is for the STEM 3A for math. There are many applicants in this particular strand. Gen Math and only basic calculus. Gen Math and basic calculus. Then for STEM 3D, it's science as subjects, the physical science. We have so many competencies. So Earth and Life Science is a subject offered in the first semester of grade 11. However, we include it even it's not in the second semester. It's because there are many of us and we don't like you to duplicate the different competencies during the demonstration teaching. So you have the option to choose on what subject you are going to demonstrate, to do in the demonstration teaching. So we have Earth and Life and the physical science. Then for the TVL, these are the specialization that you are going to demonstrate, but of course, it should be aligned to the specialization that you are applying for. So dressmaking, hairdressing, bread and pastry, food and beverage services. Now, if your specialized subject was not in our list because we don't have enough time anymore, you just proceed you just go again to our curriculum guide and choose a subject matter, choose an objective or learning competency aligned to the specialization that you are taking. Then we have a hairdressing. So I think I have not seen applicants who have this specialization in hairdressing, but still we present this to you so that if you are interested and it's aligned to your specialization, then you have the reference. Then bread and pastry production. Of course, there are many competencies under the bread and pastry production, so with the food and beverage services. For industrial arts, we choose only two, the EIM and the shielded metal arc welding. If you are in a specialization of EPAS, then you may go and see our curriculum guide. Then the agriculture, fishery arts, it's only food processing that we are having now. But I know that some of our applicants are in agri-crop production and organic agriculture. For ICT, of course, we only have common specialization and it's computer system servicing. Just see our mail for your learning competencies and concentrate your demonstration on the fourth quarter of second semester in grade 12. Okay, so I would like to give my final instruction for the interview and demonstration. Number one, be in the venue at 7:30 or at 12:30 or an hour before your assigned time. Then number two, see the secretariat for the sleep and demo room assignment. Third, you seek an assistance from the secretariat if there are problems occur during the preparation of your demonstration. Number four, bring your own equipment, projector and extension cord, and trivial tools needed in your teaching demonstration. 5, provide 2 copies of your lesson plans for, this is not 2, 3 copies of your lesson plans for demo observers and placed it in a folder. Then choose competencies from the given list and align to your track and strength. Number 7, let the team leader of the demonstration or interviewer sign the slip given by the secretariat. Keep it for reference and the other copy will be returned to the secretariat. I would like to end this orientation. The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. Once again, good morning. And if you have some questions you want to raise it during our frequently asked questions session. Thank you to everyone.
Ay, Hi, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Green V. Saison, for richly discussing about demonstration teaching. Alam mo natin kung gaano kahirap ang paghahanda, pero dahil sa gabay na ibinigay sa atin sa umagang ito, ay talagang may basehan na tayo, may pagbabatayan na ang ating mga teacher applicants kung paano ihanda ang kanilang mga sarili para sa isasagawang teaching demonstration. Ayan po, maraming salamat once again, Dr. Green V. Saison, our Division Senior High School Coordinator. Nako, parang andito na po tayo sa mas inaabangang bahagi ng ating programa. ang frequently asked questions. Pati po, tinitignan natin ang ating mga chat box sa inyong mga katanungang inilagay kanina. Kukolektahin ito ng ating PMT. Actually, marami na tayong naipong mga tanong. And we are down to answering all these questions. Ayan po, sisimulan na po natin. Ang lahat ng mga tanong na makikita natin sa ating mga chat box. Meron din po tayo, kasi naka-live din po tayo sa ating YouTube, sa Sur, no? Sa ating YouTube channel. Kinolekta din natin lahat ng mga katanungan upang sa araw po ito ay masagot ang lahat ng yan. At lahat po kayo, mga giliw nating teacher applicants for senior high school ay talagang makapaghanda na ng maayos para sa inyong upcoming BEI or Behavioral Event Interview at saka teaching demonstrations. Ayan po, maraming salamat once again sa lahat ng ating mga kalahok sa ating online orientation for senior high school teacher applicants. Kasama ko natin sa umagang ito ang Head Secretariat ng Division Screening Committee, Ma'am Leia Ramirez. Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning, Sir Brian.
Ayan.
Sa lahat ng mga nandito ngayon sa loob ng platform at sa lahat ng nanonood sa YouTube channel natin.
Ayan po. Ayan, simulan na natin sagutin ang mga katanungan na galing sa ating mga applicants. Ito po, number 1. Good morning po, sir. Maaari na rin po namin malaman yung result namin sa EPT, Ma'am Lay.
Okay, sir, yung pong examination ng October pa po ang available na result ngayon. At yung examination last week, wala pa po. Inihintay pa po natin.
Okay. So magbibigay lamang po ng advisory or updates ang ating division kung meron ng results sa recently conducted EPT. Ayan. Next, ito pa po. Pwede ra bang gamiton ang EPT from Misamis Occidental Division, diri sa Sambusor Division, for application for teacher positions? Ma'am Lay?
Okay? So, pwede siyang gamitin as long as hindi pa lumagpas sa 2 years ang kanyang result. Meaning, kailangan 2020 na na-take ang examination na yon ng EPT. So, pwede pang magamit, sir.
Okay, sana malinaw, no, na hanggat hindi pa po expired yung results ninyo ng EPT, pwede pa po ninyong gamitin regardless kung saan ho kayo nag-take ng EPT. Okay pa. Okay, some more questions? Ito, good morning, ma'am and sir. If I may ask, with regards to our EPT, what should we do if we have registered and took the test from other schools division? Will our scores automatically appear in your system po, or should we submit a copy of the results?
Okay. So, for that question, Sir Brian, kailangan lang mag-submit ng hard copy at saka signed ng issuing officer sa kanilang division kung saan sila po nag-take ng EPT. It's a hard copy ang kailangan po.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Lay. No? So, kailangan yung mag-submit para ma-notify din po ang DSC ng results po ninyo. Ayan. Good morning po. Ano po ang gagawin para masali po sa list ng EPT takers next week, second batch? Thank you po.
Okay, for the next batch, yung pag-exam is closed na po ang ating ngayon kasi na-submit na sa BEI ng ating division testing coordinator na si Dr. Anton Ganun. So, maybe magbibigay naman ng instruction or memorandum kung mayroon na namang next batch of test takers.
Okay po. So, ibig sabihin po, Ma'am Lay, hindi na po sila pwedeng sumali sa next week na EPT po.
Hindi pa po muna, sir. Next na sila po kung mayroon ng slots na may ibibigay.
Okay pa. Now, another question. Good day, ma'am and sir. Can I take the EPT for the second batch? Kasi hindi po ako nakapag-take sa first batch, pero andun po yung name ko sa list.
Okay. So, ma'am, nasa list po kayo ng first batch, kaya nandun ang name nyo at wala po kayo sa second batch. So, maybe you can reapply for that to take the examination. So pero sa second batch hindi po kayo pwedeng sumali kasi nakaset na po ang lahat for the second batch.
Okay, so malino po. Sa nagtanong ko ng question na yon, sa nagtaas ng tanong na ng question na yon, so dahil yung name po ninyo ay na-indicate o nakalagay doon sa first batch at hindi po kayo naka-take ng EPT sa first batch, hindi po kayo pwedeng sumali sa second batch kasi occupied na po ang lahat ng slots ng second batch. Ayun. I was mistakenly wrote the strand in my application letter, but I still need to submit another application letter.
So for this matter po, meron po tayong yung sa DSC po, meron po tayong nakita ng mga applicants na hindi na-align yung kanilang track and strand na in-applyan. Kung kaya, ang ginawa po ng natin ng DSC is, in-address po ang issue na yun, in-align po namin siya. So, ma'am or sir, yung concern nyo po, makikita nyo ang name nyo, maybe Monday po para final na po yung lahat ng track and strand kung saan po kayo na-belong, and that is based on your baccalaureate degree.
Thank
po, Sir Brian.
Thank you, Ma'am Lay. No? So, napakalinaw. Ito, just coming from another platform, did I hear correctly po na second batch for EPT will be next week?
Yes po, that will be on May 30 and 31 at the same venues po kung saan ginanap ang batch 1.
Nako, maghanda na po kayo, sir. Ma'am Don, dumalang kasi next week na po talaga. May link po ba para sa second batch sa EPT takers this coming May 30 to 31?
Okay, lahat po ng mga link ng mga qualified takers ng EPT by next batch on May 30 to 31, makaka-receive po kayo ng notification through your email po. Doon yung makikita kung ano yung mga code na kinakailangan nyo.
Okay, so wala po kayong kailangang alalahanin, Ma'am Don, kasi makaka-receive kayo ng notifications. Ito pa po, pwede ba magpa-interview na lang at di na mag-demo? Old applicant po kasi ako.
Okay po. With that matter po, i-identify po namin based on your letter of intent kung ano yung gusto nyong i-undergo uli. Kung nasa letter nyo po na magpa-interview, then interview po kayo na belong, wala po kayo sa demonstration. Pero kung hindi nyo naisulat doon na magpa-interview kayo, maybe you can notify us so that you will be included in the list of for those who will undergo for an interview.
Tama, Ma'am Lina, kasi sa mga maraming instances, may mga applicants tayo na hindi klaro o malinaw doon sa letter of intent kung ano talaga yung gusto nilang i-avail for this time, no? Kung exclusively demonstration lang ba or interview. Sana sa lahat ng mga applicants natin, maglagay ho tayo, mag-indicate tayo sa letter para alam ng DSC kung saan tayo ilalagay.
Opo, that is intended for those for updating po. Yung inyo at automatic, kasali na sila.
Alright. So ito pa. Pwede ba ito pa. When will be the demo and interview po?
Okay, so meron na po tayong schedule na iset, kaya lang for approval pa, that will be on June 8, 9, and 10
At MPTS.
at MVTS or Mulabi Vocational Technical School. Okay, so yun po ang schedule.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Nay.
Okay.
Ito. Where can we see the link for the instructional objectives po?
Ayun pong,
Yung kanina.
ayun pong ibinigay kanina ni Ma'am Glenn Saison, kasali doon sa ipinresent niya kanina. You can review that one. Makikita niyo po lahat ng mga objectives or competencies na kailangan yung pagpilian, na pwede niyong pagpilian that is aligned to the track and strand na inyong ina-applyan po.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am. So, Sir Winter, kung gusto niyo pong muling malaman yung mga instructional objectives, paki-review na lang po ng ating coverage ngayon. Nasa YouTube channel natin, Sure sa Sur. So, makikita niyo muli doon ang ating mga instructional objectives doon sa video na ipinakita ni Ma'am Glenn Saison. Alright, so ayan. Sir, I was not able to take the EPT last week due to my health condition. I am pregnant for 2 months now and I wasn't really okay that day. Do I still have a chance to take the exam for the next schedule?
Okay, so for your case, ma'am, you may try to apply again to have a new slot, ma'am, kasi nakaset na po ang schedule natin sa mga lahat ng mag-take.
Ayan po na, nililinaw natin na ang lahat ng mga pangalang na indicate doon sa first batch, kapag hindi kayo nakasali sa EPT ng first batch, hindi na din po kayo pwedeng mag-take for the second batch kasi may mga pangalan na. But you are still allowed to reapply. Ayan po. If I may ask for the teaching experience, how many points will be given every academic year?
Okay, an academic year consists of 10 months and every month bears 0.5 na score po. So in every month, meron tayo, and in 1 year, so 10 months, meron pong 5 points lahat. Kasi academic yung tinatanong niya.
After 13 months.
Pero yung experience niyo po sa senior high school, only after the 12 months experience niyo po mag-credit. Yun po, ika-13th month pa po magkakaroon ng score yung inyong experience, be it teaching or industrial.
Okay po. So here's another interesting question, no? Hindi lang natin alam kung kanino to galing, but the question is, Licensed Computer System Servicing ako, TMC1. I applied in TVL ICT, but my baccalaureate is BSED MAPE and also a licensed professional teacher. Pwede po ba mag-apply in TVL ICT or sports? And my license credited in SHS points system?
Okay, so sa situation ni Sir, ang dami niyang, ang ganda ng qualification niya for senior high school teacher, no? Pero sir, you must be aligned to your baccalaureate degree. So kailangan nasa sports po kayo, sir, na mag-apply. Kasi ang tanong niya, are my license or pwede ba siya mag-apply sa sports? Yes, you are. And hopefully the school will be so gagamitin po ko yun ng school or yung specialization yun na meron kayo na nag-offer ang school kung saan kayo ma-assign, magagamit nyo po. Pero yung tanong mo, are my license accredited in senior high school point system? Ang license po natin sa LET, wala po siyang points na kasali. Pero that will qualify you to have a regular permanent slot.
Ayan, so malinaw yung sagot ni Ma'am Leia. Ito na po, I forgot to indicate na kailangan ko lang pong i-retain ang old score ko from 20, sa 2-0 to ranking. What will I do po?
202.
202.
Baka
Previous.
2020 kaya yan or 2021. So for this special ranking po, kung nalimutan nyo at gusto nyo i-retain yung score nyo, and if you found your name na nasa list ng mga magti-take ng interview at demo this coming June, just please notify us po dito sa DSC. Punta ka lang po sa office. So that
Ayan.
ma-address natin.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Lay. Ito, good morning. About po sa EPT, nakatake po ako last year, but sa UMS na criteria, nag-reapply po ako ngayon sa TVL. The criteria have changed. Mag-take po ba ako ulit? Thanks po sa clarifications.
Yung sa score ng EPT, hindi ka na pwedeng mag-take ulit para yung sa medyo concern mo na sa EPT, no? Yung question niya is nag-change siya from academic to TVL. So magkaiba lang ang score ng bearing niya kasi sa academic sa UMS 10 points siya, then sa TVL is 5. Pero yung score mo sa EPT, kung nag-take ka ng October, the same ang ating gagamitin na result.
Okay. So, ayan po. Ask ko lang po sana kung kailan po ang schedule ng EPT. Parang nasagutan natin to, no?
Okay, that will be on May 30 and 31, 2022. Second batch.
Second batch po, doon po sa, may mga venues na po na na-flash kanina sa screen. Ito, nagparang ko last 2020, valid pa to kung result, ma'am, sir? Ayan.
Pwede ba iklaro po natin yung question kasi yung sa EPT baka maano natin yan kung 2 years na yung EPT mo, so hindi na siya pwede. Pero sino yung tanong, ano kaya ang ano niya, no? Pinaka-concern. Good morning, sir.
Kasi anonymous.
2020 valid pa. So, mabalid yung ano mo, yung GWA, yung general weighted average, saka yung experience. So, makontinue pa yung ano, merong yung experience na may certification at saka ng trainings mo, pwede siya. Ang interview at saka demo, kung hindi ka nag-intent ngayon, nagkaroon ng letter of intent na mag-undergo ng demo or interview, so yun pa rin ang gagamitin natin po.
Kung galing siya sa junior high.
Pero kung galing po kayo sa junior high school, kasi hindi niya na ipaklaro, kung galing po kayo sa junior high school, lumipat kayo or nag-apply kayo for senior high school teacher, kailangan po kayo mag-undergo ng interview at demonstration teaching.
Ayun po. Now, let's have another question. Ito tanong ko lang po, sana pala about sa track na sports. Kasi po, upon the online registration, kinakailangan po ilagay ang track and strand. So my question is, ano po ang strand ng sports? Meron pa ba o wala? Salamat po.
Wala na pong strand ang sports po. So kanina na ipakita na rin ni Ma'am Glenn yung lahat ng mga competencies na pagpipilian nyo for your demonstration po.
Ito, mahaba-habang tanong. Ask ko lang po sana regarding sa EPT. Nag-take po ako last 2021 October as a junior high. Pero ngayon, apply ako sana sa senior high. Tanong ko lang po, di po ba ako kailangan mag-take ulit ng EPT para sa senior high? Kasi po, may kakilala ako na nag-take din siya last October pero nakapag-take din siya ngayong May sa EPT.
Okay, so hindi niyo na po kailangan mag-take ulit. Pwede na yung result niyo noong October 2021. Pwede lahat.
Okay pa. Okay, so we have here another question. Saan ba nabilong ang UMS? Social science po ba?
Ang UMS is Humanities and Social Sciences. Yes, kasali siya.
Ano ba yung
Ano yung major niya? Ano ba ang baccalaureate mo?
Okay, yun nga, Ma'am Christy May Lanaha. Ma'am Christy May, kung naririnig niyo po ngayon itong ano natin, we would like to know if ano yung baccalaureate niyo po. Yun ba yun, Ma'am Lay?
Opo.
Para ma-align tayo. Okay, good day teachers. I am a licensed in computer. Parang tapos na to kanina.
Tapos na yan, sir.
Okay. Do you have any more questions? Ito sa gas. Gas po yung strand na nailagay ko po, pero sa category UMS lang ang meron. Ano pang gagawin ko?
Okay. Doon ka po mag-demo sa UMS, ma'am. Pero kung nakabase din po yun sa baccalaureate degree mo, kung 1A, yung sa English, then 1B, yung sa Filipino, then yung 1C, yung sa literature, and other, yung sa social sciences, then for the 1D for the media literacy information literacy and empowerment technology. So kung saan po kayo nabilong na group sa UBS, doon po kayo mag-demo. So yun po, Sir Brian.
All right, thank you, Ma'am Lay. Ito, another question. How do we know the venue and time of our demo and interview?
Okay, we will be posting schedules po, pati yung mga kung anong oras kayo doon pupunta. Kasi may instruction kanina na at least an hour before your schedule, dapat nandoon na kayo sa venue.
Okay po.
Sa mga ASDS, sa district office din natin.
Okay. So magpapadala rin po kami ng copy doon sa Public Schools District Supervisor po,
Sa district office natin.
sa district office.
Okay, so I guess hindi naman kayo kailangan mag-alala kasi prior to the conduct of the demonstration and interview, yun nga po sabi ni Ma'am Lea, magpapadala tayo ng notices sa ating mga district offices para ho masigurong alam ninyo kung kailan at anong oras ang inyong mga schedules. Ayan, magandang araw Ma'am Sir, nagmasteral na po ako ngunit hindi pa ako graduate. I'm still on thesis 2. This coming opening of classes, what is the requirement or what are the requirements to submit para counted po ang aking masteral units?
Okay.
Naka-align na yung units niya.
So, yun pong sa masteral din, kailangan naka-align pa rin kung saan kayong track or strand nag-apply. And if naka-align po kayo, kailangan naka-reflect po sa transcript of records ang inyong like kung completed academic requirements, kailangan naka-reflect po doon sa inyong TOR so that magkaroon kayo ng score.
Okay po, Ma'am Lay. Ibig sabihin po, Ma'am Lay, kahit hindi tayo nakagraduate pa or CAR, pag nakatake tayo ng masteral, may units tayo, may points na po yun.
Yes, sir. As long as naka-align po sa 18 units, meron po tayong additional 1 point. Then 21 units, meron 15 points pala, 15 units. Then 18 units hanggang sa CAR at saka sa EDD po sa doctoral natin.
Wow. So kailangan talagang ihanda ang ating mga documents na to prove our credentials. Ayan. What method po ang gagamitin namin sa demonstration? 7Is po ba o anong type ng method?
Okay, yung with regards to the methods, kung ano yung pong hiyang kayo, you can make use of it as long as you can.
The objectives are aligned.
Okay, the objectives that you are going to deliver will be aligned to the MELCs na hinihingi po natin.
Ayun, so wala tayong sinasuggest or wala namang standard na method na gagamitin. As long as sabi ni Ma'am Lea, hiyang kayo at ma-deliver ng tama yung content based po sa MELCs na binibigay. Ayun, can we still submit follow-up pertinent papers and where will we submit them?
Tapos na po ang pagsasubmit ng mga documents natin for special ranking at senior high school kasi po na-evaluate na lahat ng documents natin at close na yan last April 20 po.
Okay.
Yun lang po, Sir Brian.
Okay. So kasi marami din nagtatanong ng kaparehong tanong, Ma'am Lay, no? Na kasi gusto nilang mag-update, gusto nilang mag-submit, pero gusto din nating iklaro o linawin sa ating mga applicants na may binigay tayong date of submission kung kailan lang hanggang doon magsasubmit. Kasi may schedule din kung kailan titignan o i-evaluate ng committee ang documents. Once nagsimula na ang evaluation, hindi na po pwedeng dagdagan ang ating mga documents.
Not only for those with scores po kasi sa EPT, kung nag-take sila ng EPT doon sa ibang divisions, then valid pa yung nila kasi hindi pa nag 2 years at saka yung sa license sa parang PRC. So yun is accept natin yun siya kasi wala naman siyang score.
Okay pa. Ayan, I want to change it to UM so that it will align to my course and major. I am an English major. I think that TVL is okay because I have Kokiri in C2, but sad to say that TVL is not aligned to my course.
Okay, so sa situation ni ma'am, maybe makikita nyo na yung name nyo doon sa UM 1A po ma'am kasi talagang sinubukan namin na mabasa lahat ng inyong TOR po kung saan kayo talaga yung baccalaureate degree ninyo kaya nailagay yung mga pangalan ninyo sa but in the event na nandoon pa rin ang sa TVL ang name mo, please notify us so that we can change and please prepare yung lesson plan na align to your sa UM sa English para ready po kayo.
Okay, ito parang one of the common problems or questions ng ating mga applicants ng lay. Old applicant siya ng junior high, tapos new applicant sa senior high. Mariretain na daw po yung score niya ng junior high kung currently nagpa-rank siya ng senior high.
Okay. Ang mariretain po are those sa education, sa experience, yung sa training. Pero yung sa training, mag-iiba yung proseso kasi meron kayong mga additional documents. Yung EPT mariretain. Pero ang interview at saka demonstration, you really need to undergo for it. Kasi iba yung guidelines DO7 sa junior high school at we're using DO3 for DO3 2016 for senior high school.
Alright, so yan po. Ilang puntos po ba ang 2 months na experience as substitute teacher? Magagamit po ba ito sa special ranking?
Magagamit po siya, sir, as long as magsasubmit siya ng may ng service record and per month 0.5. So, sa kanya, pero siyang 1.
Ayun. Ito pa po, sa mga Filipino major po, Filipino sa piling larangan lang po ba ang pagbabasehan sa demo?
Kanina po pinakita ni Ma'am Glenn kung ano yung mga competencies na pwede nilang gagamitin. So, pananaliksik, 4 po yata yung nandoon. So, again, please try to review the presentation kanina po.
Okay, sige ma'am. Ayan, ito po, another question. Maglalagay po ba kayo ng mga list of applicants sa ating official FB para may matignan kami kung kasali kami?
Okay. Eventually magpo-post po tayo ng mga list para lahat ng mga pangalan na mag-undergo na interview at demo at kung saan classroom kayo mapupunta.
Okay. Sige pa. Now ma'am, isang concern lang din po, indicated sa intent na mag-redemo siya. What happened if hindi siya daw makaka-appear kasi may problema? Ang yung old score din po ba yung maki-carry over?
Oo, yun pa rin ang maki-carry over natin kung nasa senior high school ka na. At if nasa junior high school, hindi natin siya pwedeng i-carry over. So, yun lang po. Kasi pag junior high school, then hindi ka nakapag-demo ngayon sa senior high school, meaning wala kang score sa senior high school. So, kung galing ka sa senior high school for updating, tapos hindi ka nakapag-demo, as you wish na sana mag-demo ka, so yung old score mo, yun pa rin ang gagamitin.
Okay po, malinaw sa atin. Ito pa po ma'am, last 2021 ranking, nagpa-update po ako ng papers. But when I visit the division office, wala po akong ranking score sa 2021. Paano po mariretrieve yung results ko ma'am?
Okay. So para hindi na yan sa special ranking ng senior high school survey. So kung sino po yung nag-question, mayroon po tayong proseso na ginagawa na mas madali nating gagawin na ma-trace yung mga concerns ng mga applicant natin. Punta lang po sa office ni ASDS Raymond Salvador sa kanyang secretary, meron pong logbook. I-logbook niya lang po ang mga queries. Pagkatapos, we will be verifying all those, titingnan yung folder, lahat-lahat. Then, i-notify po kayo ng secretary ni sir kung nakita natin ng mga findings po.
Ayan, so that's another very clear answer to the concern. Kasi parang marami ding nagtatanong sa ganyan, so just visit the office of ASDS Salvador. Tapos pakistate na lang po ng malinaw yung concern ninyo. Ito po, good morning po. Elementary license po ako. Pwede po ba sa senior high? May NC2 po ako sa AIM at IPAS. Salamat po.
Okay po. Dito.
42.
Okay.
Series 2017.
Okay, meron po tayong issuance with regards to the DepEd Order 42 Series 2017 na nagsasabi na yung mga elementary natin na license holder ng LED ay hindi po pwede sa senior high school. So, sa elementary na lang po muna kayo.
Ayan po, malinaw. Will there be an available projector in the demonstration venue or we really have to bring our own?
Okay, it is also stated kanina ni Ma'am Glenn na lahat ng equipments na gagamitin ng mag-demo, please provide kayo po ang magdadala ng inyong mga equipment. So yun po ang instruction.
Alright, so yun po. Kaya binigyan natin itong mga detalye ng maaga upang makapaghanda po kayo. So ito, good morning ma'am. If we will not have prayer review attendance, but Ayun po.
Eh,
But do we still need to put it in our lesson plan?
Yes, kailangan kompleto ang inyong may preliminaries pa rin sa inyong mga lesson plan. Only during the delivery na i-direct na natin doon para na-utilize yung time na allocation for your demonstration. So yun po, sir.
Okay pa. Maybe this is an isolated case, no? What if daw, ma'am, nasali yung pangalan niya sa mag-demo at sa magpa-interview, ngunit yung intent niya talaga is ma-retain yung old scores niya. Ano yung gagawin niya?
Just notify, please notify po sa DSC so that address po natin ang yung issue at saka delete natin yung name mo doon sa demo at saka sa mag-i-interview po na list.
Okay pa. So Sir Agi po, siya yung nagbigay ng question. So kapag nakita niyo po yung name niyo doon sa list ng mag-undergo ng interview at saka ng demonstration, tapos hindi niyo po pala talaga gustong sumali doon, kindly notify the DSC as early po.
Okay.
Ayan, on the screen, good morning, ma'am. Just wanted to ask if it is possible to change the strand that I am applying for. I applied for TVL track, ICT strand, but notice that my qualifications are lacking. Would it be possible to change it to UMS since the qualifications that I have right now fits the academic track UMS strand?
Okay, so as I have said kanina po na yung mga baccalaureate degree tinitingnan po natin lahat para ma-align po ang mga applicants natin, Sir Bry, kung saan sila nararapat. So hopefully, sir, makikita nyo ang yung name na nasa UMS na po. But if in case nasa TVL pa rin, please notify us, sir, so that malipat natin doon sa academic track ng UMS kung saan po kayo naka-align.
Ayan po, maraming salamat, ma'am. Ito, another question. Ano po ang major ko? Ewan ko bakit natanong ni sir. I am a criminologist.
Okay.
Okay.
Nasa 1C.
1C.
Nasa UMS 1C po kayo, sir. Yung lahat ng
Kasi
criminology natin na baccalaureate degree holders. Okay.
subjects.
Makikita po doon sa criteria kanina kung ano yung mga subjects po or yung pong competencies na intended for you na mga criminology graduate po. So UMS 1C po sila, Sir Brian.
Okay, so sir, nasa UMS 1C po kayo napabilang. Ayan, eto galing kay Ma'am Angela Pontillas. Good morning, sir, ma'am. Do we need to use visual aids, PowerPoint, or the integration of both po? I am hoping for your response.
Of course, yes ma'am, kailangan po yun so that mag-enjoy yung mga learners at kayo na rin po. Kasi andyan yung art ng ating teaching, learning, delivery po.
Ayan, parang basic din naman po. Kapag nag-demo tayo, kailangan talaga natin gumamit ng mga materials, no? Para maidaloy ng maayos ang ating mga contents. Ayan.
That's responsible. Okay.
Ayan, do we have any more questions from the... Ayan, wala na. So, tignan lang natin itong galing sa other platform. Good morning, ma'am and sir. Nag-take na po ako ng EPT last year in the city. Pwede po ba yung magamit sa province? Nag-apply po kasi ako sa inyo.
Okay, pwede po sir. Pwede. Basta again, hindi pa nag 2 years. Kung last year, okay, valid pa po. Just submit the hard copy ito sa division office ng Zamboanga del Sur Division.
Okay, so uulitin lang natin regardless of the site kung saan kayong division or province nag-take ng EPT, as long as hindi pa po expired or within 2 years pa po, you can use it still here in Zamboanga Sur Division. Ayan, but can we ask for a copy of the learning competencies per category?
Okay, makikita niyo po doon sa presentation kanina ni Ma'am Glenn Saison. So, paki-review lang po. Andiyan na lahat yun.
Okay, kasi hindi na po natin siguro makaya pang individually ma-provide sa inyo via PDF format, no? So, kindly review our coverage, yung video natin ngayon sa ating official YouTube channel, Sure sa Sur. So, para mas makita nyo pa ng malinaw, you can also review it at your own pace and time. So, pwede nyo ma-review. Good morning po, ma-credit po ba yung pag-take ko po ng EPT sa junior high school? I took it this year ata or last year in 2021 sa Ribocon. Kaya I was wondering why is it that my name was not on the list of EPT examinees? Kasi sa junior high school po ako nag-apply noon, hindi po sa senior high.
Okay. So, kung yung EPT po, lahat ng result ng EPT, pwede siyang i-apply sa elementary, junior, or senior. So, meaning kung sa junior high school kayo, nung nag-apply kayo, pwede nyo magagamit ang result ng EPT sa senior high school, ma'am. No worries po. Pwede. Hindi nyo na kailangan mag-exam ulit as long as valid pa ang result ng inyong EPT.
Okay pa. And ito, parang nasagot na natin to. There is a relative question with this. When will be the BEI or the behavioral event interview po?
Okay, kasabay po yan ng araw ng demonstration teaching po sa may June 8, 9, 10, 2022 sa MPTS.
Ayun po. So, few more questions bago tayo mag-close ng ating programa sa araw na ito. Ito na po. Ayan. I took the EPT in Miss Ok 2022 bago pa lang po, April 6. My question is, do I need to take the EPT again? Parang pareho. No?
Okay. Ano lang,
Credited
hindi na kailangan mag-take ulit po. Yung result nyo, again, submit a hard copy sa DSC dito sa Division Office ng Zamboanga del Sur. Then, yun na po ang pwede natin. Accredited siya.
Okay. So, lilinawin lang natin sa ating mga applicants na hindi ko connected yung mga systems natin sa ibang division. Na kapag nakapag-take na kayo doon, automatic papasok sa atin, hindi. Kailangan ninyong mag-submit ng yung certification of APT results ninyo dito sa DSC para ho ma-record ng ating secretariat. Ayan po. My major is chemistry. Would that mean that I should only select physical science and earth science topics in the fourth quarter only? Or do I really have to choose competencies in the general chemistry topics in the fourth quarter?
Okay, so sa question nyo po,
They have to select in.
just select from the bulks na doon po sa 3B,
Pero
sa sciences.
pwede na sa chemistry.
Pwede rin po kayo makapili ng mga subjects doon sa chemistry, sir. Okay?
Competencies.
Okay. Ito pa, I am a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Education, major in Technology Education, and done with my master's degree of Master in Agricultural Development and major in Agricultural Extension. Ano po yung strand ang pwede ko pong ituturo or ano pong strand ako mag-apply?
Okay, mag-a-apply ka po sa TVL, yun po sa AFA. Major niya, ma'am, is Agricultural Education.
TPM,
TVL AFA po siya.
TBM 4A. TVL
4A, yun po sa AFA. No? Yung limutan ko tuloy.
Fishery Arts.
Agricultural Fisheries and Arts. So doon po kayo mag-enroll, mag-a-apply. And yung master's degree nyo, since naka-align, sana po naka-reflect yan sa POR nyo so that mabigyan po kayo ng additional points na 5 points po para sa inyong education.
Tama, Ma'am Lay, parang akma-akma dahil graduate siya ng agriculture, so doon siya sa TVL, AFA.
Opo. Tsaka ang master's degree niya is agricultural development. So, may corresponding points po na.
Nako, malaking may tutulong sa inyo ng inyong master's degree po. Okay, good morning. I was not able to indicate my intended subject in my letter of intent. Pwede po bang mag-update? Pwede po bang ma-update ang aking letter?
Hindi na pwedeng i-change ang letter ninyo, ma'am, pero hopefully nakita din nyo ng DSC na kung ano yung inyong baccalaureate degree, inalay na po namin kayo. So tingnan nyo na lang ang name nyo kung ano yung major nyo kung Filipino, maybe nasa yung 1B po kayo. So yun po.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Lay. At ang question na to, Sir Prince, tapos na natin nasagot kanina.
Okay, tapos na yun.
Ano? So, check, anong oras na ba? Napaka-productive po ng Q&A portion natin ngayon kasi alam natin na ito yung pinaka-aabangan ng ating mga applicants para at least malinawan sila sa lahat ng kanilang mga pag-aalinlangan or mga katanungan patungkol sa proseso ng pag-a-apply nila sa senior high school. Pag meron po kayong mga additional questions after ng programa natin, you can, ano bang gagawin nila, Ma'am Lay?
Ito lang, sir, reminder lang po additional. Kasi 3 araw po yung ating activity for demonstration and interview. At magpo-post tayo ng schedule kung anong date sila. So kung hindi nyo po schedule, please huwag po kayong pumunta sa venue so that hindi po tayo masita ng IATF. Kasi yung iba taking chances ba na baka may absent, so sila yung magre-replace, so magkakaroon po tayo ng medyo bawal na pagtitipon yan na mangyayari. Kaya again, iko-control po natin na kung sino lang yung naka-schedule sa araw na yon sa 8, sila yung pupunta. So kung sa 9, sila lang din ang nandoon at saka sa 10. So yun lang po, pakiusap natin sa mga applicants po.
Ayan po, sana malinaw sa ating mga teacher applicants na sumunod ho tayo sa ating itinalagang schedules. Ayan po, kasi hindi naman ho kayo papalitan on your date. So, i-accommodate ho kayo lahat. Kaya punta na po tayo sa ating mga venues on the day po na naitalaga sa inyo. Ayan, so Ma'am Lee, what if po may mga katanungan sila after the session, saan ho nila ilalaga, kung saan ho nila ilalagay lahat ng mga questions po nila?
Ma'am Glenn, saan po natin sila yan? Accommodate.
May
Sa
platform po ba
district
tayo?
na lang ba? Kung may queries pa sila. So kung may additional na mga katanungan na gusto nila ng paliwanag, sir, pwedeng sa district nila i-address sa kanilang ASDS po.
Okay po. So yun po, kasi wala na ho tayong mga questions sa ating mga sa platform, sa YouTube at saka dito sa Microsoft Teams. Nagpapasalamat po tayo sa lahat ng ating mga teacher applicants sa inyong pagpapakita ng malaking interest na makasama namin sa Department of Education. Kami po ay nagagalak sa inyong pagsubaybay at pagsama sa ating programa. Sa ngalan ho ng bumubuo ng team na ito, pangkat na ito, sa suporta ho ng ating Division Superintendent Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto, sa dalawang Assistant Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Raymond Salvador at Dr. Jerry Boquinquito, sa ating Division Senior High School Coordinator Dr. Dean Saison, at sa kasama natin sa Head Secretariat ng DSC, Ma'am Lea Ramirez. Sa lahat ho ng ating mga kasama sa Technical Working Group, maraming salamat po. Ma'am Lea, any parting words?
God bless to everyone. Gawin niyo po ang nararapat na sa demonstration at saka sa interview according to the guidelines para po makuha niyo yung hinahangad na trabaho po.
Ayan po. Ma'am Glenn, any parting words po?
Good luck to everyone. I hope that you will be in our RQA. Bye-bye.
Maraming salamat po at God bless everyone na buhay ang Schools Division of Zamboanga del Sur. Magandang tanghali.
Cheers.